different ways. You probably heard us talk about, you know, belief or mindset in a bunch of different ways, but really want to address the challenge of shifting your belief or shifting your mindset when you first start here at Symmetry and what that looks like. Because chances are your career up to this point, no matter what industry you were in, was a W-2 job. You got paid hourly or salary, and it was pretty straightforward, right? Show up 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week or 90 hours a week, and you're going to take home a paycheck at the end of it. And it's really easy to believe in that system because it's the one we've seen modeled our entire lives. What did our parents tell us? Go to school, get good grades so you can get into a good college, so you can get a good job, so you can make a good living, right? That's been the model for as long as most of us can remember. And we've seen it played out so many times that it's very easy to believe that works. Nobody ever applies for a job where they're unsure whether that company is going to send them their paycheck at the end of the 2-week pay period, right? Has that ever been a concern for anybody starting a new job? No, maybe you were concerned that you couldn't hack it. Maybe you were concerned that people weren't going to like you. Maybe you were concerned that, you know, the guy in the cubicle next to you always took his shoes off in the middle of the afternoon, and good Lord, the smell. But it was never a concern whether your paycheck was going to come. Now, for whatever reason, each and every one of you has decided that model no longer excites you, no longer works for you. You want something more. You want to bet on yourself. The problem is you probably don't have any experience in this business coming in, right? You've never done insurance before. A lot of us have never done sales before. We've never had to deal with the challenges of essentially starting up our own business. How do I control my own schedule when nobody else is telling me to? How do I invest my own resources in a system when there's concern about paying rent or paying the mortgage at the end of the month, right? How do I do all of these things effectively in a system that I don't fully trust myself in yet? And the answer here is to borrow belief. Paige and I were on a coaching call last Thursday, Paige? Yeah, last Thursday with Danny Young. And one of the things he told us is that when you start here, you work off your upline's mindset until you develop your own. And I can tell you from experience how very true this is. I watched Paige go through this with Bridget and John. I watched Tom go through this with Paige. I watched Ibel and Josh go through this with both of them, right? You have to be able to borrow that mindset. And borrowing mindset is a lot like taking out a loan to pay for school or to pay for a car or taking out a mortgage for a home, right? You're borrowing something because you don't have. When it was time to go to college, didn't have the money to pay for it out of pocket, so I had to take out loans, right? Loans that would be paid back by the job I got once I graduated. Paige, same situation. So we knew that by borrowing that money to invest, we were improving our future earning potential. Well, borrowing from belief, taking a belief loan, works even better here, right? Because the amortization schedule for a belief loan works 100% in your favor. You see, when you borrow that belief in the beginning, you maybe have 10% of your own, right? And so you're borrowing up to 90% to fill that account. And every month, as you write another policy, as you plant another seed, as you see another recruit come through pre-licensing, as you see somebody else on your team write their first policy, you take over a little bit more of your own belief. Now you're 50-50. Now you own 50% of your belief and only 50% is borrowed from Paige. 2 months from now, you're going to own 85% and you're going to be borrowing 15% from Tom, up until the point that your belief is 100% your own. That's a loan that you don't have to pay back. That's a loan that continues to pay you. And that's a loan that you have the opportunity to then turn around and pay forward. Because sharing the belief here isn't about the individual, right? We know that it's about the system. Josh, no background in insurance before coming in here. He was a Marine and then in college. Tom, golf pro. Paige, I think, worked every job under the sun, including as a CPA, right? None of us had background in insurance, but we were able to come in here and understand a system. And we believed that system worked because we were able to borrow that belief from people who had done it before. We'd seen the success of Bridget and Dave Lappin and John Ziller and Marshall Wayland, all of whom came in under similar circumstances, right? So we didn't need to borrow their skill set. We didn't need to borrow their phone to make dials. We didn't need to borrow money from them to buy leads, but we did have to buy or borrow their belief that this system would work. John had a great point early on. I remember overhearing him mentoring Paige. And I think we were at Marshall's house when he said this, or on our way to Marshall's house when he said this. And, this was about 6 months in. Paige had just had her first massive week and, big, first big deposits coming into the account. And John said, all right, now it's time to up your lead investment. And Paige's eyes kind of went wide and said, what? I'm starting to show a profit. You want me to dive more money into this business, put myself back on that fine line between being able to have some savings and not? And he said, look at it like this. Now you know the system works, right? You've seen it be successful. So if I told you that you were spending $300 to get $5,000, but if you spent $2,000, I would give you $10,000 back in 2 weeks. Would you take that bet? Would you? Because see, this isn't a gamble here. It is the same process to dial and sell $2,000 worth of leads as it is 200. The system itself doesn't change. So if the system works at one level, then all you have to do is scale it to the next. That's the belief in the system. That's the understanding that this is not contingent on your experience, your skill, where you're from, anything like that. It's all in your ability to believe and trust in the system. With that, sorry, kind of lost my spot here for a second. With that loan, with that belief loan, comes some obligations, right? We already talked about one of them, paying it forward. If this system has worked for you, are you not obligated to go out and share it with anyone else looking for a similar opportunity, similar freedom, similar level of success, right? That's where these big agencies come from. Ryan Miller felt an obligation to his brothers to share something new that was exciting him, and he now has one of the largest agencies in symmetry, right? Carl Miller felt the obligation to reach out to his buddy John, whose business was going under at the same time and who was facing mountains of debt, and say, hey, we got something new here. I cannot hide this from you. I have to share this with you. So number one obligation is pay it forward. The number two obligation is to be consistent. If you're going to borrow belief from someone, show them that you're going to be consistent with that belief they're sharing with you, that you're going to put in the effort day in and day out. Tom, congrats, buddy, on finishing 75 hard the other day. How was that? Still muted. First time on Zoom.
Here we go. No, that was a task in itself. That was a mental challenge more so than I've ever experienced.
Were you confident that you could do it on day one?
Oh, hell no.
No.
I wanted to.
Yeah. You had people like Jared there who had done it before saying, hey, Tom, here's the way. Here's how we do this, right? Holding you accountable, helping you maintain that consistency, to all of a sudden now you're looking back at the last 75 days saying, holy crap, what a change I have made. You see, this business is a lot like fitness. Nobody, unfortunately for me, ever got the body or the level of fitness that they wanted by going to the gym one day. How easy would life be if that was the case, right? Nobody ever made it long-term in this business by writing one policy. Just didn't happen. In fact, the people who hit it big on their first policy, look around, they're not here anymore because they did not have to push through the pain to earn their own belief. They didn't have to go from borrowing belief to developing their own. It worked too quickly for them. See, the pain is part of the process here. The challenge is part of the process because that's what builds your faith in yourself. You can borrow belief in a system. You cannot borrow belief in yourself. You have to create that. So the belief you borrow early on is that the system is going to work. That is the tool that allows you to build the faith in yourself to say, I am going to continue to make this work. Paige, anything you'd like to add to that?
I think you nailed it on the head. It's not about having everything right now. It's not about having all the motivation. It's not about having all the right answers, having the exact right plan, having all of the belief. It's not about having it first. This business is about promoting you before you're ready, and then you grow into that role. So right now we're promoting you before you're ready. We're promoting you to your own boss before you're ready. We're promoting you to being a field underwriter before you maybe feel ready. We're promoting you to being a team leader before you maybe feel ready, but you grow into that. And borrowing belief from your mentor is huge because we do believe in you. We've all the coaches on here have been here long enough to see people come from the craziest backgrounds and make this work. 18-year-olds, 70-year-olds, everyone in between, right? We've seen it. And that means that it's possible. And there's no reason why it can't happen for you. There's no reason why it shouldn't happen for you. It's not about anything aside from you and what you're willing to do. So borrow that. Understand that you may not be able to see the end of the road. You may not be able to see the next step in front of you. Back to what we talked about last week. But you know it's there. We've all been there before. We're telling you it's there. Trust, take that step, and keep growing through this. Something I want to kind of leave us with here is to help with this, to help with the mindset, the belief, the growing, you got to be reading. So ask yourself, what are you reading right now? You can read the book that we read as a team. You can read something else. It doesn't matter. As long as it's speaking to you, it's helping you to think bigger, think positively, think excited, right? You've put down the book excited and motivated. You can feel that happen for yourself when you're reading something good. Find an author that speaks to you. If you want some advice, reach out. We've all been reading long enough to be able to give you some good tips on who to look at and who to start reading. But that's got to be an important part of your day. And those who kind of have this emotional journey, there's one thing that's missing, and that's the reading. So make that a part of your routine, and your life is going to change. Commit to it for 30 days, 60 days, 75 days, and see what happens in that short period of time for you, for those around you, and for your income. So with that, you guys, short call. That might be happening. We might have some short calls. We might have some longer calls. Next week, we will have a special guest from Americo coming on and talking some products and kind of help with just getting a feel for how to write some different things. We'll be having those special guests every once in a while. So stay tuned next week to hear from him. But otherwise, enjoy 4th of July week, you guys. Stay safe. Let us know what you need. We'll be here. We're just a phone call or a text away. Let's go get it. People are around this week. It's a good time. So have a great
see y'all with all 10 fingers next week.
Holiday, not Halloween. Holiday, not Halloween.
Holiday, not Halloween.
Halloween.
That's right.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Have a good one.
Bye, y'all.